Hello, everybody. Today I am going to be talking about this sort of new sort of topic right now when it comes to the New York Jets, and that is the Breece Hall deal and how the New York Jets need to get this deal done as soon as possible. Um, Strictly for the reasons of you want to pay your players, of course, but you don't want it to become this big thing. There are many examples around the NFL where guys hold out from training camp, hold out from, you know, all you know, these preseason activities, and they're trying to get their money, they're trying to get their bread, and this is how they negotiate. Um, and those things can turn south like like that. People don't remember Micah Parsons last year. That whole ordeal where, um, you know, the Cowboys, they were saying that they were going to pay Micah Parsons. They never really got to it. And for some odd reason, the negotiations were not going through pretty well to the point where Micah Parsons wanted a trade. Um, which led to that big trade with the Packers. Um, that big trade with the Packers um, to get Micah Parsons and, you know, Cowboys, they got a first round pick. Ironically enough, the Jets own that first round pick in 2027, but that's not a that's not a thought right now. Right now is we're going to have to focus on the 2026 season. So, um the one thing I got to just say is I think it's very important for the New York Jets if they want to be competitive, if they want to start winning as soon as possible. It's important for them to get this deal done and get it done quickly and not let it linger on to the point where Breece Hall starts to get frustrated, where he's starting to, you know, not be at minicamp, you know, at not be in minicamp, and it starts off like a whole distraction of where's Breece Hall, where's Breece Hall, you know, we've seen it before with the Jets. I remember a couple years ago, Jamal Adams did the same thing. He didn't show up for minicamp. He demanded a trade. 2010, I remember that too, where Darrell Revis, um, he wanted a big time deal. There was a big negotiation period where Darrell Revis missed his the entire minicamp of 2010. I mean, heck, that was the main plot of Hard Knocks for crying out loud for that season. You do not want this situation to linger on the way it did. This is what I feared going into last year with Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner when they were starting to do negotiations for for a deal. Oh, Sauce Gardner is no longer on the team, so the deal doesn't really, affect them anymore because now the Colts are paying for it. But the Jets are still paying for Garrett Wilson in that deal. So it worried me that, the negotiations would go south and to the point where players, just want out after that point because they don't feel like they're being respected. So Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, they need to make sure that Breece Hall feels comfortable and respected within these negotiations. If they don't do that, they will lose him. He will want out. He will demand a trade if, you know, negotiations go really sour to the point where Brees Hall just doesn't feel respected in the Jets organization and he's not going to want to play here anymore. And trust me, we do not want that this year specifically for the Jets because I think the Jets they need as much talent as they need to be competitive. And if Aaron Glenn wants to stay the head coach of the New York Jets, it should be a massive priority to keep Breece Hall on this team, um, and lock him up long term. I am not saying to break the bank for him, but I am saying you need to find a middle ground, a certain number that he is looking for specifically, and find a good middle ground where he is satisfied, but at the same time, you don't give up too much. So that's the beauty of the negotiation period of, you know, deals like this, you know? But if this lingers on, like people aren't really thinking about it now, but if this lingers on to, you know, to July or maybe August, you know, that then there is a problem. Honestly, I feel like Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, they need to get on this as soon as possible, and they need to get this done. So they need to be quick on this because personally, I do not want this to linger on. I don't think any Jet fan wants this to linger on. You don't want this to be a distraction before the season because the point of the season is you're trying to improve. How are you trying to improve when the biggest distraction is your running back, your star running back is holding out, and there are going to be rumors that he's going to want out from the team? You do not want that. You do not want that situation to happen. So, Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, they need to act quickly. So, and this is something I fear personally. I fear that they won't act quickly. They'll take their time on this. They'll give Breece Hall during the negotiation period a very team friendly deal. And Breece Hall is going to feel disrespected to the point where he's like, no, I should be paid this. And the Jets are going to say, well, you're not that guy. And then Breece Hall is going to be so angry to the point where he's going to say, you know what? No, I'm done. And, you know, I've lost a lot here. I've shown that I'm the one of the better players here. I want out. I want to go to a team that's actually competitive. I mean, I look and my teammates like Quinn Williams go to, you know, the the Cowboys and they look kind of better. You know, he looks like he's revitalized in Dallas. You know, I'm seeing people that played for the organization beforehand, like Sam Darnold. You know, he's winning Super Bowls with the Seahawks. So right now, you need to do everything possible to keep Breece Hall satisfied and happy during these negotiation periods. Because if you don't, he is going to want out and he's going to be very justified for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to say that's very justified to want out. And that's something you do not want. Honestly, you do not want that in um in or around your organization. Like if you're trying to win or you're trying to improve, that's what you do. I mean, it's just and but this happens every year. You know, this happens every year with a star player. You know, they get franchise tagged, they start negotiations, and then they get disgruntled, or the deal gets signed, or they get disgruntled and they want out. We've seen this time and time again. So we better hope that the negotiation periods are very, very good. So yeah, you know, I hope the Jets do pay Breece Hall. I hope they don't overpay, but they need to find a good middle ground of keeping Breece satisfied, but at the same time, keeping themselves in good financial, you know, a good financial, you know, a good financial state so they can improve the team in the future. Um, yeah, no. So, look, it's really important for this deal to get done. Now, when minicamp does start, I know rookie minicamp starts. I, I I think rookie camp starts soon. I believe. I know as soon as possible. You know, rookie minicamp is usually kind of like 2 weeks after the draft, maybe a week um after the draft. So yeah, yeah, let's see here. So yeah, 3-day post-draft events, usually in May. Let's see, Jets one. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, so like around this week or next week. Yeah, around this week. So they're going to start minicamp soon. So the process is starting. So during rookie minicamp, I think is the perfect time for the Jets to start talking to Breece. I think that should be the perfect time for them to start talking. I think obviously they are going to do that. I mean, Darren Muji has already made it clear, very, very clear, that he's been busy with this draft, but it is a priority to talk and negotiate with Breece with his agent for a good payday. So I hope Breece he gets his bag. I hope the Jets pay Breece a decent amount to the point where they can keep a very good player and you know still have a very good offense in place. Let me tell you something. This offense without Breece Hall gets a whole lot worse. I mean, the Jets' offense, to me, on paper, looks pretty solid. I mean, it looks kind of complete. Um, the only thing that's kind of missing is the quarterback. I mean, you can make the case, but you know, Gino's solid. He's not horrible. He's going to provide you some production. I think this offense is going to be able to score points, but I think it's important to sign Breece Hall because it's possible for you to score points with Breece Hall, and it adds another thing for defensive coordinators to think about. Who should I cover? Breece Hall. Should we think about loading the boxes for Breece Hall? Should we think about double covering Garrett? Well, oh wait, that's going to open up Omar Cooper or Kenyon Sadiq. I mean, this is what good offenses kind of build their foundations on. Having multiple weapons and multiple opportunities that kind of keep um, D coordinators up at night and sort of make them think on their toes a little bit. And if the Jets have that type of, you know, sort of stature against other defensive coordinators this year, that's a pretty darn good thing to think about, especially when you think about the possibility of the Jets drafting their future quarterback next year. I mean, that's a possibility. Um, I mean, Cade Klubnik might be. I'm just going to just say the word might be something. I'm not entirely sure on that. Um, but yeah, the Jets they need to get this done. They need to get this done quickly as possible. Um, but it's just the thing is with this team, whenever a contract negotiations start, personally, um, I get a whole lot nervous because just history has shown like things can go very badly, very, very quick. They can go badly, very, very badly. I mean, it's just, you know, like that's what happens sometimes. So trust me, no one wants that to happen. They don't we don't want this distraction to happen. And I have a weird feeling it's gonna happen, because it's the Jets. We've seen this happen before, you know, with Jamal Adams and everything like that. It's just so unbelievably, ugh, you know what I mean? It's just you think of the worst possible case scenario every time. I mean, this is what being a Jet fan is. You think of every worst case scenario that you think about. It's most likely gonna happen. I just, I hope personally it gets done. It's very similar to what the Garrett deal was last year, where it was just done very, very quickly. It was out of the way as soon as possible. No one had to worry about it. No one had to think about it. Please let it be like the Garrett deal last year, where it's just out of the way and just no one has to think about it after after it's done. You know what I mean? It's just done. Like he signed the deal, it's done. Let's just stop talking about it. Let's stop talking about him, wanting out. He's here for the foreseeable future. But time will tell. Um, time will tell. But they need to get this done as soon as possible. Um, please. So yeah. Um, and another thing I haven't alluded on to is the running backs after Breece Hall. Behind Breece Hall. Braylon Allen, I like him, but he's more of a thumper RB2, where he's just this big back, but he's not a starter. Like he's certainly not a starter in my eyes. He's certainly a third down back when I see him, but he's not a starter. He's not gonna be a top tier running back. He's certainly a guy that's, okay, but not at the top echelon of the league. Isaiah Davis, I mean, honestly, Isaiah Davis to me is just the same thing. Like you can place him at a third down back, but what good is he? Sometimes. I mean, sometimes I think he's good for one touchdown a year. So I mean, it's oh, like I do not want to go into the year with just Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis as his running backs. Please, please just get this done. Please, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Please. So yeah, uh, that's gonna be kind of it. So, um, just a message to the New York Jets in general: get this done, please. Get this done. Just get it out of the way, please. I do not want to start the year with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis at running back. Please, please.